Near. What do you have for us?
I got
Yeah,
some
you're talking
fucking.
about not
I
talking
got
about
some
Steel
straight
Ball Run.
bullshit. Yeah, I watched Steel Ball Run.
Hell yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but
It
It's the
counts. Yeah,
best.
you
It's the
could
best anime ever.
could have totally covered it near. It counts.
No,
The one
it had
episodes that are out.
one episode out, man.
Yeah, well,
Tell me the crop on this image in the bottom left corner there. Tell me that doesn't look like a sesame seed bun.
Dude, you are
Bird.
fucking straight up
I-
mind fucked by just like being American.
To be fair, I also thought it was bread if I was just looking at it.
Oh,
he's
jeez.
not wrong.
Anyways.
Yeah. So, I watched Champignon no Majo, also known as Champignon Witch. This is a Typhoon Graphics production.
This sounds like a Chinese studio. To be
They
honest,
brought you bangers like One Room, and Roommate.
nice.
Yeah, and recently they did fuck was this called? The Water Magician. This guy shit. And then
Yeah, they've done a lot of like consistent work though.
The Water Spirit one or which one is it? The Water Spirit one or the
Dahlia
other
and
one?
Blue,
There's two.
Crafting a Fresh Start, Magical Tools, stuff like that.
Whatever.
But yeah, they're also working alongside. I don't really know how closely, but they're also working alongside. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Kazil.la.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I don't know what
Yeah,
how
for
to
those who
pronounce.
don't know, is the studio behind
Yeah. I was just saying.
Sekiro anime that's upcoming. Yeah. So I don't know how closely they're
That's
working
about
with
it,
that
right?
studio.
It's just like, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a sort of I guess fantasy drama about a witch that lives in the woods. And I was really disappointed by this one actually.
Dang, he's starting off
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah, this one was really disappointing. So the first couple episodes start off as kind of like it's almost like a shoujo setup, right? Where it does the exposition where our main character Luna, is a witch, and she is a um poison witch. And the sort of exposition they gave is that um the black witches around the world kind of each have their own, like, kind of focused on like one like element or aspect or something like that.
Wow, this sounds
How many
like
black witches
true.
are there?
Yeah, this sounds like true magic.
I didn't count, but there's like a scene later where like there's like a council that shows up, and there's a lot of them. There's like
So it's like it's like an entire like kind. It's not like there are like
yeah,
6
yeah,
black witches. Or yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there's like a fire witch and a wind witch and there's like a cat witch. There's a mouse witch. There's they're like all different like
So is there
aspects.
is there a black magic witch?
No,
Well, but
I'm pretty sure
black
all the
witches,
black
right?
witches are doing black magic.
Okay.
Yeah,
But is there a white witch?
there are white witches.
Hell yeah.
And so the lore is kind of like the white witches are the ones that are like ruling the kingdom. And they're more like mages than they are witches. And whenever they find one of the witches, they kill them. They just kill them. So the witches kind of have to keep their head down, and sort of live in secrecy, not really make themselves known, stuff like that. And so as a result, Luna she lives a pretty lonely life, right? She lives in the forest with really nothing to keep her company other than her familiars, and stuff like that. And every once in a while, she goes into town and she sells some of her, potions and stuff she's made to the apothecary. And during one of her visits, she sees this handsome young lad, and she's like, "Oh, he's so handsome." And she ends up drawing him one night, and the drawing sort of comes to life. right?
Oh, just like in
And
Harry Potter.
yeah, she ends up having a dance with this drawing, this like sort of spirit drawing, and
Mhm.
it's a cute little scene. And then the next time she goes back to town, she notices that the same young lad is like he's all like gaunt and withered and
Gasp,
stuff like
Nier,
that.
it's true.
And so she kind of panics and she realizes what's happened, and then she casts some spell and basically like gives his like takes the sort of spirit out of the picture and back into him, right?
Nier, you get it,
Mhm.
right? Why? Don't you remember why Sanosuke was scared of cameras back in Rurouni
Uh
Kenshin?
huh.
They
Yeah.
steal your soul,
Yeah.
man.
But in doing so, I guess he like remembers the dance or whatever, right? And so
Okay.
um the guy kind of sees her and he's like, wait a minute, like, I remember that, and he tries to essentially reach out to her. Um and the first two episodes are kind of this little arc where it's kind of like a um it is a very kind of it's pretty cliched, right? But it's a pretty standard like shoujo setup where the pretty boy is like, you know, enraptured by the reserved, shy, kind of, not typically seen as pretty kind of girl. And they kind of hit it off, and circumstances
Small
dictate
Cinderella
that they,
story kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
circumstances dictate that they can't really be together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's pretty cliched, but it's kind of cute. And the arc sort of resolves in this because the um the town guard sort of like catches wind, and it sets up that this pretty boy guy kind of has connections to like the nobility, and if word got around that the witch was coming around just to see him, like essentially she'd be dead, right?
Mhm.
um and so the only way that they can kind of meet each other is through these spirit paintings, right? And um they do that for a bit, and then this other character comes in and he's like, you
Wait,
really shouldn't.
how does how does that work? Like, aren't they
Yeah,
losing a part of the soul each
yeah.
time?
So this other character comes in and he's like, you really shouldn't be doing that because, like, kind of you're kind of killing him in town. Like he's kind of like dying. Um, and she realizes that, and she's like, well, I guess the best thing to do would be essentially she has to like wipe his memory of everything that happened and kind of like you know let it go, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Like, oh, Nier, I get it. Let it go, like Frozen.
yeah, sure.
Why did she just put herself in a painting and do like mirror mirror on the wall kind
Um,
of tomfoolery?
well, she does, but that's
What?
how she. That's
Damn,
how she.
so predictable.
Yeah, that's how she sort of gives his stuff back and wipes his memory at the end. Um, but yeah, like I said, it's a cliched but kind of quaint kind of story about love and circumstances and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I kind of liked it. It was a short little arc,
It's
and it was
definitely.
cute.
Is this like originally a manga? Is this like in like from a
Yeah,
shojo?
this is a manga original. I actually don't know. What is this published in? Let's
A
say
lot of these kind of look like
manga arc.
shojo kind of.
Yeah, it's got a very shoujo style, but I don't know if it's in a shoujo manga or not, or
Oh, okay, okay,
shoujo
okay.
magazine rather.
Nier, would you give
Um,
your soul to meet a goth witch baddie?
it looks like it is in a shoujo magazine, so it probably is like
Okay,
more of
okay,
a
okay.
shoujo focus. But yeah, so that's like the first arc, and I was like, that's kind of cute, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then
I bet.
the yeah, so the after that, it kind of I guess sets up like the main crux of the show, like the actual drive and push of the show. She finds
Right.
this guy in the woods that's been
What,
like
a new guy?
stabbed. Yeah, it's a different guy. Um,
That harlot.
and he's been stabbed and he's been cursed basically, right? He's got this curse put on him.
What was
And
the
so
wow, double curse?
yeah, and so she saves him, right? And then she, through her magic, she absorbs the curse, absorbs the poison. Um, and she ends up realizing that this curse is what do they call it? This curse, like indicates that like this guy that she's found, like he's destined to become the end of all things, which is this curse that like
The
essentially
classic.
absorbs like the entire, like every single grudge and grievance and negative emotion that
Mm-hmm.
humanity has. Like it absorbs it all until it
100.
eventually becomes this big monster, and it goes on a rampage, and it destroys kingdoms, and
Isn't
it
that
makes
near? Isn't
people
that just
rot
Undermania?
from basically, yeah, it's basically Angermania. But yeah, they call it the end of all things, right? And so she saves him, and the Council of Witches, uh, you know, immediately catches wind that she's saved this boy that's destined to become the end of all things.
Mm-hmm.
And the Council of Witches are like, you got to kill that motherfucker right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's
It's like
like,
Anakin Skywalker. Like you gotta
yeah.
chuck him in the desert somewhere.
And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that, right? Because it's revealed that before she became a witch, she was destined to become the end of all things. But
Oh, okay.
through her sort of study of magic and her ability to, um, teach herself the ability to absorb and dispel sort of poisons, and curses, and stuff like that, she avoided her fate of becoming the end of all
Mm-hmm.
things, right? And so she wants to sort of extend that opportunity to this, young boy, right? And have him
Mm-hmm.
sort of, um, give him the opportunity to overcome his fate as well. And it's an interesting setup, right? Um, the problem is the execution, right? So
Mm.
the um the main setup is basically, if he can learn magic and to control magic within 3 years, the Council of Witches will be like, yeah, sure, right? We'll let him live. And so like immediately, like day one, Luna's like mindset is like, I gotta be hard on this kid. I gotta teach him like as much magic as soon as possible. Um,
Yeah. So he doesn't get screwed over. Yeah.
yeah, but the problem is, this kid, Lise, has huge memory issues, right?
What do you
And
mean by memory
so
issues?
the issue becomes almost every day he like fucking forgets who he is, like where he is,
God
what's
damn
going
it.
on. And so uh, he's like, like progress is just like not happening in this series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's constantly kind of repeating this idea of like, oh well, like how do you teach somebody who forgets fucking everything, right? Or forgets who they are or whatever. And then at the same time,
Wait,
Luna
he forgets who
herself,
he is, not just the
yeah, like
subjects.
yeah, like he forgets, yeah,
Okay.
like he doesn't know who he is basically.
Jesus Christ.
Um,
Okay.
and Luna herself as a main character is like, she is so like reticent and reserved that like she's almost to the point of like near mute. Like she has maybe like 5 or so lines in like the
It's
7 or
like
8
the
episodes I
silent. It's like
watched.
more silent than the Silent Witch that you
Yeah,
covered.
she does not speak very much at all. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's this issue of like neither party kind of is really able to communicate like what their issues are, and or like what is actually happening, or you know and so kind of the drama that ends up happening, right? Because this is a drama series. It's not really like a laid back kind of slice of life thing. um there are stakes on the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much all of the drama that ends up coming from this series is basically like, these two characters just don't speak to each other, and therefore resentment, you know, uh, bubbles up.
Miscommunication.
Yeah,
Miscommunication.
and it's just like you just do that over and over and over and over again. It's just like it gets really tiring. Um,
They're using the same shtick over and over again. Is why you're
yeah,
saying it gets
yeah,
tiring. Yes.
basically. And it's pretty unfortunate because, like I said, the initial, like that first like 2 episode arc, had like a neat I mean, again, it was cliched, but it was cute. It was like the idea of, you know, um,
Hmm.
like uh what people do, so, sort of for connection, and whether that's worth either fighting for or letting go or stuff like that.
Right, right, right,
And this
right.
is kind of this, initial like main setup with the kid who's destined to become, the end of all things. It's like a similar idea, right? Where just because something is quote unquote fated to end in tragedy doesn't mean you shouldn't like fight for a better outcome, right?
Right, right.
Um, and it's a neat theme, I guess. It's a neat idea, but the problem is the execution is
The
just like
execution. Yeah.
it's just not it. Um, it doesn't help at all that like the Lee's like the young boy is like not he's not very likable either. He's pretty
In what way?
he's pretty prone to sort of emotional outbursts and kind of temper
Okay.
tantrums and stuff like that. Just because it's like again the main issue is like they haven't like really communicated what is on the line here, like why he's learning magic. They're kind of just like he wakes up and he's just like, what am I doing here? And they're just like, you're gonna learn magic now, and if you don't, we're gonna kill you. It's just like, okay, sure.
Wow, Near,
And
you know
so
what this sounds like? This sounds like grooming. You will become
he,
of age, and
yeah,
you
I
will
mean,
marry into the family.
in a way, but yeah, it's just like the just sitting the kid down and be like, hey, look, man, uh, shit is like not good, okay? And if you don't do like what we're telling you, like things are probably not going to end up well for you. So we do really have your best intentions like in mind, but like you gotta start learning magic like
Mm.
ASAP, right? They don't really do that. They're kind of just like, I'm your teacher now, and if you don't learn magic, I'm gonna kill you. And if you try to leave, I'm gonna kill you. It's like, okay, bit of an odd strategy, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's just kind of unfortunate. Um, because like Luna herself
Essentially,
is
you don't like
cute.
how it's this railroaded, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, like Luna herself is cute, and like the sort of familiars that she has. She has a little like cow familiar that turns into this tiny weird goblin thing. It's kind of cute, and some of the other familiars she has like this sheep familiar. It's cute, and some of the designs are cute. Um, and again, like the initial setup, I was kind of expecting like a sort of a slow pace, almost more kind of like a more local version of like um almost like Witch Hat Atelier, right? Um,
Mm.
but a bit more like lower stakes, right? Um,
Hmm.
but then it ended up being like, yeah, there's this kid and he's destined to become the end of all things. You have to teach him magic, or else
Good
we're
luck.
gonna kill him. It's just like, okay, sure. I mean, like you could do
I
something.
guess.
You could still do something quaint with that because it's like you do have like the 3-year time limit stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating to watch. The same
Hmm.
characters kind of stumble over the same gaffes over and over again because it's like
Yeah, yeah.
they kind of refuse to make Luna like have a backbone, and then they refuse to have Lee's kind of be more um
Normal.
like understanding and less of
Hmm.
like a petulant child. It's just kind of frustrating, especially because as a consequence of Luna being as like reserved and untalkative as she is, the story kind of has to shift to like almost the perspective of Lee's, like the young boy, like as because he's like he seems to be the only
Because it
one that's
slows down
given
so much. Yeah.
like introspection and actual like character spotlight. Um,
Hmm.
and again, he's just not very likable. Um, so yeah,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. Um, yeah, the story was very disappointing. Um, as for the audio visuals, the animation itself, I would say is pretty mediocre. I think Typhoon Graphics have like they're not like a big name, obviously, right?
Mhm.
But they put out stuff that looks decent, right? I do think because I went back and looked at the PV and stuff for Dahlia and Bloom. I think it looked pretty okay, right? Like it had
Yeah, Dahlia and Bloom was fine. Dahlia and Bloom was
decent
fine.
stuff. And then again, Water Magician I think looked pretty okay. The colors were a bit drawn out, but like the actual animation itself was pretty solid. Um, but for this, the animation is pretty stiff. Um, the I feel like the character designs have not translated well from the sort of, very, um, uh, classic kind of shoujo-esque manga style, um,
Hmm.
to animation. I feel like they didn't translate super well. Um, I will say some of the designs are cute. Some of them have this very, um, I don't really know how to describe it, but there's this. I took a screenshot of it earlier. There's this like king mushroom, um, that I guess is like uh one of the I guess big like teachers for Luna, and he's got this. It's almost like something you'd see from like a like benevolent creature in Berserk. Almost, he's got this like it's like
Oh,
almost
what the?
unsettling. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like this
yeah, yeah.
almost unsettling look to him, and it's a really cool kind of aesthetic to put
Right,
into
right,
this.
right, right.
Um, but yeah, like
It's not
the
like fully
designs.
comedic and full. It's not, and it's not fully like weirdly like awkward, like
Yeah,
like horror-inducing kind of vibes.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you can tell that it's like this is a weird creature, but it is still supposed to be like gentle and kind kind of thing, right?
Hmm.
It's a good balance, I think. And when they show the other witches and stuff, like the witch council or whatever, they've all got like weird, freakish ass fucking outfits on. Um, it's got a very interesting kind of uh aesthetic to it going on.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just think the adaptation itself was a bit flawed. Um, visually, it's also got this, the thing that some American cartoons will do, where when you like shade in like a color, it'll be like um almost like a background texture. You know what I mean? Um,
Hmm. Yeah,
Chowder
yeah,
would
yes,
would
yes,
do
yes,
this a
yes,
lot.
yes, yes.
So
Uh-huh.
it does that with this, but it's much more subtle, right? It's not as um
Okay, I see,
apparent
I
or
see.
jarring. So like the familiar that Luna has, the one that turns into a cow, um, his fur will be almost like it's almost like a construction paper texture, right? Um,
Okay.
and yeah, it's weird. Um, I don't want to say it's bad, but it's odd. It's unique for sure. Um, but again, I think
It's
the
not full
overall,
Gohan's, but it's like it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very unique.
Mhm.
I don't dock it any points for doing what it's doing, but I do think the overall like animation quality is a bit mediocre. Um,
Okay, I see, I see.
so it's a bit unfortunate. The OP is Mahotsukai no Niki by Rosu. The song I do like. The OP, however, is uh it's very how do I describe it? Um, ghetto. It's
What do you mean by
basically
getaway? That, that's I've never heard of that opening being
I
described by
have
that.
to let me look this up
You're like they
because
just had like hired a couple of hobos on the side.
so basically the visuals
Uh-huh.
are like it's almost like a 3D Unity um like world space that has like the characters kind of like superimposed over it. Um
Okay.
and like I said, I do like the song, but like there are moments in this OP where you can see like um like the cutout for the character has not been like green screened properly, and you can see like bits of white that there shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Um,
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
it's very.
it's a cute idea, but again, it's
It's
just
like
not been.
it looks. It's like they want to create a contrast, but it kind of just looks unfinished. Is what I think what you're going for,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. I see it.
Um, and the ED is Kimiwa by Miss Uja. Um, I don't like the song quite as much, and again,
Hmm.
the visuals are more or less the same kind of idea, just a bit uh more toned down, I guess. But yeah,
Okay, 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 okay.
yeah, audio visually a bit disappointing. I do like some of the ideas it's going for, um, but not the best execution. Um,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I see.
yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay. All right. Pretty good. I guess any last words? And again, what rating would you give it?
Um, yeah, I mean, just kind of disappointing overall. Uh, I guess I expected something a bit different than what it actually was, and what it actually was ended up being
What did you
not something
did you
enjoyable.
expect the kind of a little bit more of like again a silent witch, maybe a Majin Tabi kind of vibes, or like what did you think
Um,
going in?
kind of, I guess, not so much of like a journey kind of thing, but more of just like a uh
Trying to avoid saying soul life, but you're
I,
like
I
yeah.
you're like
I was gonna say it sounds like to me like after that first arc, I feel like when you were describing it, I was expecting the rest of the series to also then be like a series of these like small stories and arcs of this witch within this world that she has to like try to navigate
Yeah,
without being spotted.
I mean that is kind of what I expected, because they initially set up that witches are extremely long lived, right? And
Mhm.
so like when they're introducing Luna, they already say that like yeah, she's lived for hundreds of years, right? And so
Yeah.
after the first arc, I was kind of maybe expecting like a time skip, and maybe um something else would pop up into the forest, or some other story about how she's dealing with the loneliness, maybe some stories with some other witches, which they do like a flashback of a friend, like another witch she had that was friends, who ended up getting killed by the white witches, which is another small arc that was kind of interesting. But again, it was like in the middle of all this other shit happening, and it was kind of just like
Hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, like just kind of a sort of like, yeah, like a slow life kind of. This is the witch living in the forest. She's kind of um coming to terms with the fact that she kind of has to live a life of seclusion. Otherwise, if she makes too much noise or too big of a scene, um the kingdom essentially is going to start storming into the forest and kill her, right? Or
Hmm.
people she's close with, or something like that. It's not that, which I think is fine. Um, but again, I just think what it ended up becoming is also not very good. So, uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The overall kind of developments, unfortunately.
unfortunate. As for the rating, it's currently sitting at 6.8 on Mall, which is kind of
That's
surprisingly
high for
high.
Mal. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I think
know.
they looked at the aesthetics, not the opening, but like the general aesthetics, and they were like, "This seems very deep to me," or whatever. They're like,
Yeah,
and then
I
they
do
just like
know.
rated it higher.
Initial impressions, like for that like first two episodes, were really high, because I remember seeing
Yeah, 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 yeah.
this being talked about online, some circles, and praises are pretty high. So it could be influence
Hmm.
stuff, but personally, I would probably give this a 4. Um,
Hmm.
I'm just not too keen on it. I think,
Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah.
yeah, the themes are good, the setup is good, but the actual route it decides to go is just it's not very good, and it's quite disappointing.
Hmm.
So
I see. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit unfortunate, but we can't always have not everything can always work out perfectly. But again, thank you very much, Nier, for helping to cover this. This was again Champignon Majo, also known as Champignon Witch, manga original, adapted by Typhoon Graphics and Qzil.la or yeah, Qzil.la, I guess is what I want to say.
I
A
guess.
little bit had an interesting start, but it kind of ended up conking out. It does happen to a decent number, a surprising, not surprising, but a decent amount of Japanese series. A little bit less so these days, but still does happen from time to time. Unfortunate, but again, it does happen.